Good morning. Oh, they say time flies when you're having fun. For me, it's still morning. Good evening to everybody. My name is Zulu Finesse. Uskobonkos kamashishimpisika nompempeza, and you are now listening to the Listening Room on Keith Ngesi Radio. So today I have a very interesting topic, and I'm not alone. I have quite a few guests that I'm going to introduce to you. The time is 11 minutes past 6, and apologies for starting so late. I mean, we've been trying to make sure that everything is up and running, and hopefully you are enjoying the music that we've been playing for you, and you are having a great time. And just a second, a little bit of some background noise that we can hear here. That's good. Now everything is in order. So I hope that you've been having a fantastic Friday and you had a great week, because I mean, the most important thing is always what we do at the end of the week and what we do in the beginning of the week. And that takes care of the rest of the week. Because if we're starting out on a positive note, we're starting out on a high spirit, then at least we know that the rest of the week is going to be taken care of. And somebody once said it so nicely that if you take care of the beginning of the day and you take care of the end of the day, then the rest of the in between is not going to be so much of a problem, because you wake up in the morning, you got a great routine, you make sure that you're taking care of your mental health, you're making sure that you prepare for the day. At the end of the day, you are having your gratitude, and you're making sure that you are closing the day on a very high spirit. So today, the topic for today is your environment matters. And that is a very, very underrated thing that we hardly ever look at in society, to say your environment is very, very important, because we don't live in silos as human beings, because we live in a world where we do have an environment around us, and it's always going to have an influence on us. It's always going to have an influence as to how we are actually going to behave, and it's going to have an influence on our decisions. It's going to have an influence on the thoughts that we have. It's going to have an influence on the choices that we make, and ultimately it's going to have an influence on how we are eventually going to manifest our outside reality, and how we are actually going to carry ourselves in the society and the things that we can accomplish. It affects our future, and it also affects our now present moment. So I am going to go ahead and introduce our guest for today. So I have your one and only Q Qaphela, and I'm sure most of the people that are listening to the show right now, you actually know who he is. So he always runs the Saturday show, the Social Echoes, and I also have an entrepreneur and a life coach, Uneo. And I'm going to allow the gentlemen to actually introduce themselves, so that we make sure that we don't leave any stones unturned. And then we're going to go into the matter of your environment matters. So in the meantime, we're going to start with Qaphela or Q. Sacala ukuthi uzi introduce.
Yes, good evening. Yes, but fancy good morning nam ngoku ngenxa yakho fancy I just follow duty. Manibulise kubaphulaphuli. Good evening. It's a Friday. Ndiyathemba into yobana sonke si-safe kwindawo esikuzo. Is going to be a very long weekend, but sizaba responsible. Igama lam ndimqaphela ke njengoba seyitshilo Finesse. Ifani ngumajola, ndingowasedutywa, ndingutshangisa ngumngwevu lo usikhomo. Ndingutishala by profession. Ndinguye no-program director kwi-indoor and outdoor events, motivational speaker. Yeah, I love sport. Yeah. Also, I can say comfortable foot into nobana. I'm also a life coach. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. That's powerful. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to go on to Mr. Nero.
My name is Neo Dukani, from KZN in Durban. I'm a life coach, like you said, entrepreneur, and then again a speaker and author again of 2 books, Single But Not Alone, and Man Up or Remain a Loser. But currently I'm in Lesotho, Yeah. So I'm in another country. Yeah, I think that's all. By profession, I'm I'm a programmer. Uh, I'm also a theologian, a pastor. Yeah, I think I'm a man of no limitations. So yeah, that's all. That's all about me.
Okay, no, thanks a lot, brother. Thanks a lot. So, just to go into the topic now, since Masibera is Kati, so unfortunately, we can't waste any more time. So, the first question that I'm gonna throw to both of you, and Q, you can go first, or Mr. Nell, you can also go first. It is entirely up to you. So, I question nginayo iti, what is environment in the context of the topic, in as far as you can understand it? What do you think makes up an environment as opposed to an individual? Because of a person, then with an environment, then what do you think is the difference, and how do you actually define the environment? Mr. Q,
Okay. Uh, for me, the environment is myself. I am the environment because I start building with myself. It does not matter what I'm building, but it begins with me. So I matter. I need to take care of this because it matters. If not, then I won't be. If this is not, then I won't be. So I think in fact, I don't think, I believe I am the environment that matters. Because if I nurture this, then it will be easy for me to grow into something else. And even those that are around me will be able to grow because of this. So if I nurture this, or I nurture this environment, then everyone who's out there looking at this environment will learn something. So this environment matters.
Wow, that's very, very powerful. That's very, very powerful. And I think one thing that I can just allude to is the fact that you don't identify your environment outside of yourself. You go on to look at, if we have an environment, then we have an individual, and an individual can be able to associate and recognize themselves together with the environment. Then you know for a fact that if you change yourself, you're gonna change your environment. And same thing applies. If you change your environment, it's gonna change you as well. There's gonna be a difference. If you start organizing your environment more, if you start taking care of your environment more, you're gonna also be doing the same for yourself. And also, if you start looking at yourself and you start taking care of yourself more, and you start actually maybe helping out more, you are actually doing the same to your environment. I like that. It's a really great perspective. It's a really nice way of actually looking at it. So, Mr. Nell, is there anything that else that you'd like to add to what Mr. Q has said?
Maybe I can even go as far as theological. Um, just a little bit. In Genesis chapter 1, verse number 1, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth," which are two environments, the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form, and then God had to create the environment, which is earth, before the creation of everything. Meaning, that earth, it's just an environment. Now, the environment, it's a system whereby we'll wait for anything that you're going to do there, but the environment must be 100% linked to whatever that a thing that you can create in it. Maybe let me make another example again. I can say a mind, it's an environment again, because from the mind comes everything. That's why the Bible in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23, if I'm not mistaken, it says, take care of your mind, because all the issues of life comes from it. Meaning that's the environment. If the environment is corrupt, you will see the results in your life. So whatever that happens in the environment affect everything that is around you. So I think, yeah, he just said it all.
Wow, that's also powerful. Thank you so much, Now. Thank you, and thank you for bringing that Bible verse as well, because I think a lot of people can actually relate as well. And the one thing that I always just look at as well, in as far as the environment is concerned, is to say, if you look at, for example, let's say you look at a person, a human being, I think it'll be difficult to identify a person without identifying the environment. Because before you can, for example, you spoke about the heavens and you spoke about the earth. So we know that when we have the earth, then we also have the sun, which brings light to the earth in order for us to be able to see. And at night, when there is no light, and if the moon is not shining as well, then we can hardly see anything. We're just going to be seeing shadows of things. But for the fact that we then have a light that forms part of the environment that we live in, and therefore that gives us the ability to perceive. And also, once we've been able to then perceive, we have a ground upon which we are able to walk, and we have food that we consume, and we have so many different things that are happening. And whenever you look at a person, you are able to see that there's a human being in front of you because of the surrounding as well. Because we always look at a person in relation to the background environment. For example, if it's at night and you just see a shadow, you're not really going to see who it is, or even if it is a person, if there's a big shadow behind them, because it's just going to be one shadow, as opposed to during the day when there is the light and you are able to see, because there's also an environment behind that person and around that person that is allowing that person to be. And also the environment is providing us with oxygen, it's providing us with all the nutrients and all the things that we need in order for us to be able to survive, thrive, and even succeed as human beings. I like the verse that you quoted, and I would like to know from you, Q. I think it's just gonna be going like a cycle like that. If maybe there is any other maybe spiritual fields that maybe you'd like to go into other than maybe Christianity, because not everyone is a Christian, and I think we also need to acknowledge African spirituality, to say, what do you think African spirituality says in as far as your environment matters?
African spirituality is just a name because it's African spirituality, not Christianity. I'm mentioning Christianity because most of the people are about or are into Christianity. Now, what I'm saying is African spiritualism works. It works because, just like Christianity, some people believe that for them to be, they need to have a connection with their ancestors. That I'm not sure if you got that. I'm not sure it's signal, but nonetheless, let me continue. When they connect with their late, in fact, let's say forefathers and great grandmothers and so on, where ama-2K is a underground gang. When they connect with them, they believe that ubomi babo buyema. They build their lives. They build a formidable life around the spirit, their spirits, because they are living in the spirits of the late. So if now they feel that sometimes okay, let me make this example. We can be in the same place, let's say attend a wedding. A wedding is a place where everyone is happy. See, we're all celebrating love and stuff. But you'll find someone who is sitting like this, meaning that there's something that is troubling his or her inner being. Then you'll find someone who's asking, what's going on? Then this and this and that is not working. Now, the person would advise that person, so that is the spiritual view. Is in fact specifically the African way of connecting with the underground gang if I can put it that way. Now, if you go to a canteen, you go to the crawl, you stand there, you sing the praises. Umzekelo mna amhudulo onxiba osikhomo ozula omhlatyana obhodla inyama ongcengane, and you tell them, I'm your son, I'm going through a lot, please help me. I'm not going far in life, things are falling, in fact, my life is falling apart. Then when you come back from there, because you believe that your forefathers have heard your cry, you come back revived. You feel in Donobana, because it's all in the mind. You feel in Donobana, now that they have heard me, doors will now open. So that's the African way of connecting and of working with the environment, not working with the environment, but of working on the environment, connecting with the ancestors, asking them, pleading with them to give you courage, to give you strength, to give you everything so that you can soldier on, so that you can face everything that is thrown at you by life.
Okay, wow, and that's a really good one, and I like the fact that you actually go to the new lingos that we're having to say they being called the underground gang, and also just looking at if a person believes without a shadow of a doubt that if they perform this ritual, if they do this one thing, then this is the effect that it's actually going to have on their lives, that it actually does have that. And there have been multiple people who've actually practiced what we call African spirituality, and they can attest to the fact that it has worked for them, and that is them working with their environment, working with the knowledge and the skills that they've been given from their forefathers to say, how can you actually make things work for yourself? How can you maybe have a huge and a positive impact in the society? How can you have a positive change in your own life? And how can you actually do that? By connecting to the people who have walked upon this very same soil that you are walking on. They learned the lessons, they performed, and therefore they would be able to guide you because they've lived the very same life that you are living. Yes, there are going to be differences, especially in terms of technology and the way that maybe we may be living at any given point in time. However, you are going to find that some of those lessons, and they also, according to belief, they're able to see beyond where we are. They're able to see things before they happen, and they're also connected to the very soul of the universe that's called God, and therefore they can actually make things happen for you. And it is part of what we call African spirituality. I like the fact that we also just joined towards that. So I'm gonna move over to Neo. So Neo, especially
All
from
right.
a life
Sorry.
coaching. Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. Yes. Yes. I'm
So
listening.
before you
I can
move
hear
on,
you. Yes. Yes.
yes, yes, on this issue of believing, this is very powerful. This is very powerful. Now, on this issue of believing, you ask a person, if you have a headache, then you ask for grandpa from me, and I give you Panado, and you say, this is not going to help. Usually, when I have an headache, I use grandpa. Believe me, it won't work. Because it's in here that the only thing that works on my headache is grandpa. I hope you get what I'm trying to say.
I do.
So
I do.
the
I
issue
do.
of believing is yes, the issue of believing is very important. I can give you any kind of painkiller, but just because you don't believe in that painkiller, because it's all in here, it won't work. I was just just thought I should
Yeah,
chip
no,
in.
that's a very, very powerful one. And also, just to add on to what you just said before I go into Mr. Neo, there is this thing called placebo effect. So that is whenever medication is being made and any stuff like that, what they usually do sometimes is when they're performing to see whether a drug is going to work or not. You're going to find that sometimes they're going to have a group of people that are going to be given the actual drug, people with those symptoms, and there's going to be another group of people with the very same symptoms that are actually going to be given what is called a placebo effect. So that drug that they're going to be given looks exactly the same as the original. The only difference is it does not have the active ingredient. So those people are going to be given the drug, and they're going to believe that it's going to work because it is the same as the one that they has already been given to the other group. And sometimes you find that some of these people that get healed from just belief that they've been given the right drug. And there's been so many different settings where a placebo effect was used in order to make sure to actually test the power of belief of a person and a human being. Yes. So Neo, on to you, sir.
Um, I think now we are on psychological aspect. The reason I'm saying that, you know, a belief, it's a system, or it's an environment on its own, where we can say, if you want to change a belief, you need to start by changing the knowledge, because knowledge create a belief, and then belief create thoughts, and thoughts create behaviors, meaning that's a pattern. We start from knowledge, and then the same knowledge that you have about a certain thing, you now form a belief, which is something that you say, I believe on this, on what I know. Then we say the thought comes from beliefs, because when somebody says, I believe this will happen, those thoughts will actually change how they behave. Because I always tell people, if you want to change somebody's behavior, you need to start from the top, which is the knowledge that they have, and then comes to the belief, and then comes to the thought. There is a saying that says, thoughts become things, meaning those are environments. I've just mentioned different environments. Knowledge, the sphere of knowledge, is an environment on its own, and then the sphere of beliefs, that is an environment again. So this topic it's so big in such a way that whatever that we get into, it becomes an environment on its own if it has a potential of creating. Now, let's just make another example, just a simple environment. An example. Marriage is an environment. Now, it's an environment for two people who are going to get into it, and then to raise children, to create ideas, to have things within marriage, because it is something that is already exists. So for you to benefit something, you need to enter into it, and then create anything that you want to create within it. Now, let's say a family or whatever that you want to do. And then again, like I said, when I was making an example of heaven and earth. Now, God started with this because he knew that the sun, the moon, the plants, water, whatever that may be, it will need earth to sustain it. Meaning creation, the environment must be conducive for creation. Now, what are we saying here? Whenever you say, I want to know ukuthi lo muntu uyinhlobo enjani, first of all, we need to look at the behavior. I-behavior lo muntu ukuthi injani. I-behavior, it tells us ukuthi what kind of thoughts, what kind of beliefs, what kind of knowledge lo muntu anayo empilweni yakhe. Number two, how they talk. We always say you speak your mind, because you are saying things that are in your mind. Now, number two, we say again, we measure your growth by the questions that you ask. Meaning now you are exposing your mind through whatever that you are saying, through whatever that you are questioning, through whatever that you are doing. Everything esibonayo physically or ngaphandle siboniswa ukuthi iphuma engqondweni yakho. Meaning the environment here is the mindset where everything happens, where creations happen. But whatever that we see outside are the results. Meaning uma umuntu ethi, you know what, I think I don't love what is happening in my life. Those are the results. You need to be happy because you can see the result. But now where to change? You need to go back. We are reversing now. We are going to the mindset, which means inte wrong is the environment. It's the environment which is the mindset. So what is it that we need to do into the mindset? That's why we are saying put right knowledge, put right beliefs, put right thoughts, and then you will see your behavior and lifestyle will change automatically.
Okay, no, thank you. Thank you so much for that. I'm still digesting some of that information. So just to go back to you to ask a couple of questions, I think it's only just going to be two. So because I see that you drew the line between spirituality and psychology, right? So when you draw the line between the two, I just want to find out from your experience. So if you have a person who's going through a rough time, if you have a person who's going through a situation and they would like to apply either one of the two or both of them combined, like how do you then differentiate? When are you able to see that now a person is actually using a spiritual knowledge? This person is using a spiritual application in order to take themselves out of a bad situation. And also when are you able to see that now they're actually using psychological knowledge in order to take themselves out of a situation? And also, is there a difference between the two, or can we use them together to say they're always gonna go together, or can we be able to separate them at any given point in time?
Okay. I would say we are spiritual beings that have experience with physical being. Meaning you can't separate the two, though you can be able to tell ukuthi lokhu. Now what am I saying? In Zulu I can say sabantu bakamoya abaphila enyameni. Now, like my elder was saying there, Mr. Qaphela, I love the fact ukuthi umuntu uzothi, no, I need to reconnect with our forefathers first so that they can give me the way. That is so powerful. Actually, it is what I always tell people, ukuthi, you know, when we talk about spiritually, we are saying the mind is controlled by the spirit and the brain is controlled by the mind and the body is controlled by the brain. Are we together on that point? Now I want to link all of them. Now, when someone is controlled by the brain, you can see. When someone is controlled by the mind, you can see. When someone is controlled by the spirit, you can see. Now those three, the results are happening through our body or through the behavior, but they are separated. I don't know if point lamlezwakala, but I can even make an example mhlambe kuze kuzozwakala.
Please make
Let me say if I'm dealing with someone in a context of Christianity, and then they are saying, "Ginesono, I am sinning. I keep on stealing. I keep on stealing." We know ukuthi akumele utshontshe, it's Christianity spiritual. Now I will say we need to change the information first. Oguti, what is sin? What is to steal first? Then when we understand that, already the belief will change, and then the thoughts will change, and then the behavior will start, because we don't change the fruits, we change the roots. Then the roots will affect the fruits. Now everything starts from the mind, but the owner of the mind, which is God, the Most High, is the one who makes sure that mind works and function well. That is why God gave us the authority to guard your mind, because everything comes from it. He knew that whether you, for an example, there is this book, ebizwa ngokuthi Think and Grow Rich. It's an easy book. Before you can even start to read the book, it tells you ukuthi you need to think in order to be rich. So if you can't think, then you won't be rich, meaning everything starts from the mind. Meaning we can say psychologically plays a bigger role even in Christianity, in whatever that we might do in this in our lives.
Yeah, no, that's very, very powerful. That's very powerful. Mr. Q, I'm gonna go to you, over to you.
Unganika that I know you can come in, then give me after you. It's fine, but I can go on if you're comfortable.
No, you can go ahead. You can go right ahead.
All right. This thing oyibuzayo kuneyo yoba umbona njani umuntu osebenzisa spirituality nosebenzisa now xa seyi-psychological. I think bi-question yakho along those lines. Andizina-answer, but can I please comment? Allow me to comment on this issue.
Yes, please.
Now, you see, we are spiritual beings, meaning that we are bound to have emotions. If we are spiritual beings, then we'll be emotional, we'll have emotions. Now, reactions there towards that everything that we encounter, whether it's a challenge or it's something that's good, but now, as far as we need to let our spiritual leaders, if you are a Christian person, allow God to lead you. If you believe in African spiritualism, then allow the underground gang to lead you. Now, this thing is scientific. When finance is scientific because everything that happens in our lives comes here. It registers here. Now, unfortunately, because we are emotional beings, we don't give enough time, because there are two centers in the brain. The part of the brain that deals with emotions, and the other part deals with rational. It rationalizes everything that happens. Now, the most unfortunate part is that everything that comes to the brain, even if it is via the spinal cord, the first part is the part that deals with the emotions, and that part is called the limbic system. Now, what we usually do as human beings, we always react before because of our emotions, because every first part, which is the limbic system, But that specific part is called the hypothalamus. Now, your frontal lobe of the brain, the front of the brain, is the one that deals with logic. But now, because information is the cooler part that deals with emotions, we always react with emotions before the rational. So itifika irrationalizer ube so-actile out of emotion, whether you reacted positively or negatively. Now, that's when this system or this environment needs the intervention of the higher God, if you are a Christian, or the intervention of the underground gang, if you believe in the late. So, as human beings, we need this. But for us to master this, we need there's this thing that is called emotional intelligence. If you don't have emotional intelligence, then you will suffer the consequences of reacting out of emotion. Because if you react out of emotion, whether you react positively or negatively, there are always repercussions. Now we need to allow. We need to have that intelligence of allowing that everything that comes in, give it time to move, or not all, but to move from the limbic system to the frontal lobe for interpretation, so that it can be rationalized. Then allow that communication between the limbic system and the frontal lobe of the brain. Once it's done, then your frontal lobe will give you a direction where from here move this direction or move to this direction. But if we don't do that, then we'll suffer the consequences.
Wow, that's very, very powerful. That's powerful stuff. Just going to you, listeners at home. I hope you're listening. I hope you are grasping the knowledge that is being provided right now. Going over to now, or going from looking at the hierarchy of the whole thing, to say it goes from the spirit, and then from the spirit it goes down to the mind, and then from the mind it goes on to the brain, which then from the brain it goes into the body, then it goes to the outside. And therefore, whatever it is that we have inside the mind is also going to be influenced by what we have outside, and also how to make sure that you allow the higher being. Because when you allow any one of these in between to actually be in control, then you're not going to be so much in control, as opposed to if you would let the higher one, if you'd go to the spirit and let the thoughts, let the behavior, let the energy flow from the God force all the way down into the body, so that you can start acting right, so that you can start speaking right. Because before you can even speak, you need to think right. He mentioned the environment, he mentioned the mind. That is very important. The thought that you have inside the mind, it's very important. The kind of a belief that you create inside the mind, and also how that can be influenced by the spirit, and then how that is going to influence your behavior, because your behavior is coming from a thought. Whatever you think is then going to be linked to how you're going to act, and how you act is going to influence how you're going to manifest yourself on the outside environment, and how then life is going to react to you. And also going over to Q, to say, you're talking about the limbic system. That's very, very powerful. You're talking about the importance of emotional intelligence. You're talking about the importance of actually waiting before you react. You give yourself time, you give yourself an opportunity to actually grasp what is happening, so that you can be able to make an informative decision. You don't just want to react to whatever is happening. You don't want to react to what people are doing. You don't want to react to a situation, but instead, what you want to do is you want to take time to pause. There will be times where you need to react, where there is an imminent danger. You are in the middle of the road and you just turn your head and there's a car coming right at you, and you just need to jump out of the way. Oftentimes, the dangers that we face is simply just you having to make a decision. And sometimes when you make an irrational decision because you are acting out of maybe frustration, or you're acting out of greed, or you're acting out of desperation, then you find that in the future you might actually regret the decision that you made before. Because had you given yourself time to actually digest the information, think about the consequences, think about the risks that are associated with the thing that you're actually faced with, how then, what other decisions, what other information do you have inside of you that would help you to make the right decisions, so that you are able to actually move your life forward. I hope I have actually summarized it right. Okay. Okay. So the next question that I'd have is this one is going to be directed at you, Q, especially since you mentioned um emotional intelligence. What do you think are the first steps and different approaches that people can have in order to try and grasp the concept of emotional intelligence so that they'd be able to apply it on their daily basis, so that they'd be able to actually start off, if maybe a person is struggling as is, to actually maybe pause, maybe take a minute to think about the decision, take a minute to think about the action that they're about to take before they can take it. If a person is always just reactive, what are the first steps? Say for a person who is both spiritually based, a person who already has a spiritual base, either African or they belong to a particular religion, or somebody who just does not believe in any higher being, a person who believes in themselves and they believe I'm the reason for my being and therefore I'm here because of me and my parents. It's all biological. What maybe are the practical steps? You can even maybe look at it from those different point of views, but what are the practical steps that people can take in order to learn emotional intelligence? If maybe there's any sources that maybe you'd like to reference that people maybe can go to. I know we're not promoting anything, but if maybe there is some information that you'd like to give out there and where they can grasp that knowledge.
Okay. All right. One thing I will talk about myself. What is working for me? Because emotional intelligence, I won't say I'm mastering it, emotional intelligence, but I'm trying. I'm trying. So the first thing is walking away from everything that troubles your life. If you see this is troubling your life, then walk away. That is the first thing. And number two, every time before you say something, first get the meaning of what you're going to say. I hope you get what I'm saying. Number three, if you get the meaning of what you're saying, ask yourself, is it necessary? Number four, yes, it's necessary, but is it true? If it's true, is it going to make, or in fact, is it necessary? If you do that, then what you say to other people will matter. Now, even them, because this goes to the law of attraction. You attract yourself, you attract who you are. Now, if you master such, then you'll be able to master your emotions, because you will know very well that I'm receiving this because this is exactly what I gave. Finesse, and that's nobody my brother.
No, I understand. I hope the listeners at home are understanding what you're saying.
You attract who you are. That is the law of attraction or reciprocation. People will reciprocate because you get emotional. You cannot just get emotional when you are alone. But unfortunately, we are not living in a vacuum. If you want to master emotional intelligence, first work on your emotions. Know what to say. Know when to say what you are about to say. Know the meaning of what you are saying. Know into nobana le nto ithethayo izawufika ihlale njani to the next person. Because if ihlala kakubi, they will react. Then if they react, you will get emotional. Now the question, the emotions you are attracting, are they positive emotions or negative emotions? That is emotional intelligence for me. And one thing that is very, very important, Finesse, anything that costs your peace, that thing is very expensive.
Wow, that's a very powerful one. And I actually like the fact that you also draw it towards that, the fact that the people that you encounter and the environments that you encounter, They are a mirror of you. So if you observe yourself, whatever is happening on the outside is simply just a reflection of you. So if ungumuntu okrwada, ungumuntu onganayo indlela yokukhuluma nabantu, ungumuntu ovela waphimisa amagama, awagada amagama washoyo, and awukhulumi okanye awuthethi izinto ezakhayo. Uma ususho into ekwada kumuntu and then emva kalapho bese eyaresponda to leyo nto leyo with another negative energy, because what you are giving out is negative and it's not building anybody. Therefore, once they respond, they react with a just and a like energy, then it is basically a reflection of yourself. It's you reflecting on that person. Same thing applies if ungumuntu ohlezi ethi mayivula umlomo aphimise amagama akhayo, then into eyaye yenzeke abantu bazobonga. Abantu bazothi hey man, yazi into wayisho yangisiza, yazi ngiyabonga ukuthi ngidibane nawe ngoba ngikwazi ukuthi ngifunde u1 no2 no3 bamba nakho. For the fact that leyo energy oyitholayo, it is a reflection of who you are. And again, unfortunately, we are running out of time, so I think we're literally left with less than 5 minutes. So we're just gonna have to wrap up the show. And this is a very, very vast show. It is a very powerful. It is a very vast topic. It is a very powerful topic that actually needed more than just 1 hour for us to be able to discuss and for us to be able to actually provide people with the necessary tools in order for them to actually start making practical changes in their lives right now. So is there any maybe closing comments, Neo, that maybe you'd like to give to us before we close the show?
I was also gonna provide with what I usually use right there with emotional intelligence. I think I always tell my students, Uguti, you need to know when we talk about emotional intelligence, it's all about thinking. People don't know how to think, they don't know what to think, they don't know when to think. Those are the problem. Now, thinking on its own, it's a structure that we are given in order to use. We must use that as an example in order for us to know when and how and what to think. If you can master that, your life will just be a flow of goodness. Number one, we have on that of thinking, we have T, which is I always, every information that I get, first of all, I ask myself, is it true or false? If it's false, then I don't entertain it. If it's true, then I can entertain it. Number two, any information when we get to the letter H, is it honorable? Is it honored? How am I receiving it? If it's not, then I don't take it. Number three, which is I, is it inspiration? Is it inspirational? If it's not, then I don't take it. Is it noble? If it's not, then I don't take it. Is it kind? If it's not, then I don't take it. Is it insightful? If it's not, then I don't take it. Is it nurturing? If it's not, I don't take it. If it makes me to be grateful, then I can take it. That is thinking. If you can install that software or a thinking model in your mind, I'm telling you, it's just gonna live a happy life, because it's all about you receiving. It's all about you receiving and rejecting. If you teach your mind to only receive good things, then your mind will do that. If you teach your mind to take negative and bad and positive, it will do that. It's up to you when you program to your mind ukuthi kwenzakaleni. Anything, whether somebody tells me anything, I just start there ukuthi iqiniso yini, is it true? Ngoba if I can entertain it only to find out it's a lie, I've wasted my time. But if it's
Powerful.
true or it's false right there, I just erase it from my mind. I don't even stress about it. I think that thinking, it's a model on its own.
Yeah, no, that's very, very powerful. I hope listeners, you are understanding what we are talking about today, and you're grasping some of these concepts. And hopefully, you got a pen and a paper, and you're writing some of these ideals down, and you actually finding a way to actually start implementing them into your life now. So I'm gonna go over to you, Q. Is there any closing points that maybe you'd like to give to the listeners at home?
Yes, brother. Yes. So Vala. No, I just want us to always remember, Singabandu, that your diet is not only what you get, what you eat. It's what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, the people you hang around. And let us be mindful of the things you will put into our body, whether it's emotional, spiritually, and, and physically. And let us know this. If you are a friend to everybody, then you are an enemy to yourself. Let us be like water, not luxurious, but be valuable. Thank you, brother.
No, thank you so much. That was powerful. That was very, very powerful stuff. So closing up the show now, I'm gonna like to excuse the gentleman. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation. Really appreciate it. And we're gonna talk again. Hopefully, we're gonna have another live where we can either extend this one or branch it out into other small areas where we can just educate people more. Thank you so much for being part of the live today.
Thank you so much, leadership.
Thank you.